Hey there! So if you've ever found yourself at the starting line of a qualitative research project, you know that feeling, right? You've got this amazing idea, but where do you even begin? It can feel like you're lost in a maze. Well, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest, most stressful questions that trips people up right from the get-go. And here it is, the big one, the question that probably keeps researchers up at night more than any other. How many people is enough? Is it 5? 10? 50? You feel like there should be some magic number, right? But trust me, the real answer is so much more interesting than that. So here's our game plan, our roadmap to get you some clarity. We're going to start with your research goal, then we'll look at the best tools to get the job done. After that, we'll dive right into that big participant question, but with a solid framework. And finally, we'll talk about why the quality of your information is way more important than the quantity. Okay. First things first, before you even think about who you're going to talk to or how, you have to be absolutely crystal clear on your why. What is the fundamental point of your study? This is the foundation that everything else gets built on. Seriously, everything.
Yeah, so the methodology expert, Dr. Philip Adu, breaks it down into 4 core purposes. Think about it. Are you just trying to describe something? Like, what's it really like to be a gig worker these days? Or maybe you're exploring totally new ground, like the social scene in a brand new online community. Or are you trying to explain why something is happening, like why are so many students picking online classes over in-person ones? And finally, maybe you're going to examine one single case, but go super, super deep. Figuring out which of these buckets your study falls into, that's your first major move.
Right, so once you've nailed down your why, the next step just falls into place, figuring out your how. Your research goal basically points you directly to the right method. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. And you can kind of think about your options in 2 big categories. On one hand, you've got your traditional methods, the stuff that's been the bedrock of qualitative research for ages. And on the other, you have these newer, non-traditional methods that are constantly evolving, a lot of times thanks to new tech. So on that traditional side, you've got the classics, right? Things like a really deep dive case study or an immersive ethnography where you actually go and observe a culture firsthand. Or maybe a phenomenological approach where you're just trying to get at the heart of what a lived experience feels like. These are all super robust and well established. But then you've got this whole modern toolkit. You could do an art-based approach and analyze creative work, or a netnographic approach, which is just a fancy way of saying you're studying online communities. These newer ways of doing things, they open up some really exciting doors for all kinds of different research questions. The trick is just matching the right method to your specific goal.
All right, let's get back to it. That million-dollar question we kicked things off with. How many participants do you really need? Well, instead of just pulling a number out of thin air, we're going to use a much smarter 3-part framework that will help you find the right answer for your project.
See, the secret isn't finding one magic number. It's about balancing 3 different factors. You're going to start with what the experts recommend, then you'll collect your data until you hit something called saturation, all while being totally realistic about who you can actually get in touch with.
First up, recommendations. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Just go look at other studies in your field that are similar to yours. What are the common sample sizes for the method you chose? This gives you a really solid, reasonable starting point, and it helps you justify your decision later.
And that brings us to maybe the most important concept in this whole explainer, saturation. This is your true north. It's that magic moment in your research when you do one more interview or one more observation and you just stop hearing new stuff. The same ideas, the same themes, they just keep popping up over and over again. That's the signal. That's when you know you have enough. Not because you hit some random number, but because you've truly heard the whole story.
And finally, let's get real. There's the practical side of things, accessibility. Who can you actually talk to? I mean, if you're studying a super specific, hard-to-reach group of people, your sample size is just naturally going to be smaller than if you're studying a much more common group. Access is a real-world constraint you just can't ignore. Okay, so this brings us to the biggest shift in thinking in this entire explainer. We've been so hung up on how many, but the truth is, the real power of qualitative research, it's not in the numbers. It's all about the depth, the richness of the stories and information you gather. I mean, think about it this way. You could do shallow interviews with 50 people and walk away with not much. Or you could spend real quality time with just 5 people and uncover insights that are incredibly deep and powerful. The goal is richness, not a head count.
So how do you actually get that rich data?
Well, here are 3 awesome strategies. You can go wider by pulling from multiple sources. You can go deeper by spending more time with each person. And you can make sure you got it right by doing follow-up interviews.
So when we say multiple sources, we mean don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just rely on interviews. Combine them with your own observations. Go find relevant documents or artifacts. Maybe even pull together a focus group. Every single source adds another layer, and you end up with a picture that's way more complete and trustworthy.
And here's the key. It's a really simple but powerful mindset shift. You have to stop thinking about just getting through your list and on to the next interview. Instead, focus completely on the person you're with right now. When you spend that extra time, you build rapport, you build trust, and that's how you get past the surface-level answers and down to the stuff that really matters.
So, let's tie this all together. The next time you find yourself asking, how many participants is enough? I want you to stop and reframe that question. Because your real goal isn't to hit a number. Your goal is to get a deep, rich, nuanced understanding of whatever it is you're studying. The number of people you talk to, that's just one tool to get you there.
And I'll leave you with this. When you focus on your why, when you pick the right tool for the job, and when you chase depth instead of just numbers, you stop being a data collector. You become a storyteller. So the real question is, what's the deeper story your research is waiting to tell?